Welcome to the Mystic Millionaire podcast, where wealth is energy, success is a mindset, and abundance is your birthright. I am Danielle Amos, your host and mentor, here to help you unlock prosperity, embody confidence, and manifest a life you love. Take a breath, align with your truth, and let's manifest millions. Welcome to the Mystic Millionaire podcast. This is Danielle Amos, and I am your host. Today's episode, I'd love to talk about desire. I've had a recent conversation about desire, and when you're desiring something and it's coming from your ego or an unhealed space versus your higher self. Now, I believe that desire is really important. Desire is an idea that is given to you, I believe, by God, by your higher self. And although it looks like you desire something to get, like, for example, I desire the $1,000,000, but it's not really about the money. And I'd like you to really consider this. When we first perhaps admit that we would like something like $1,000,000, perhaps it does come from a place that is wounded, like a shadow or a part of you that recognizes that you want it because you never experienced money as a young child, or you have memories of your family scrounging or living paycheck to paycheck, and you don't want to live that way. And so you desire more money to prove it. Or maybe, like for me, my family did live paycheck to paycheck, but the desire for millions within me maybe came from a place of ego in the beginning to prove that I could. And it moved, the desire changed, or the root behind the desire, the reason for the desire changed for me to, I really got present to what I could do with the money, and that the fact that it was my birthright, it is my birthright to be abundant, just like it is yours. It's our natural state to be abundant and prosperous. And when I really understood that, my desire for millions, the reason why I desired it was different. And I understand that a desire is here to actually have me grow. And so, why this conversation about desire is super important is because it is the first step. It's the first step to allow yourself to tap into your imagination and say things like, in a universe where anything's possible, what would I love? And allow yourself to write down all your desires, like a huge laundry list. Because if you do not have desire and willingness, nothing can change. Nothing will change in your life. And so the desires, no matter where they come from in the beginning, it's a starting point for you to grow and evolve. And I feel passionate about this because of a recent conversation with a friend. And I've been thinking about this, like, well, if my desires come from my next level version of me or my future self, my higher self, and God, well, the law of laws is that the universe is always for expansion and growth. And you are given a desire by God, by the universe, for the growth of the universe. And so the desires that you have are good desires because they'll cause you to grow. And even when I think about it, even the desires that come from an ego place or from a wounded place, there's still growth within that. And I believe that you could want $1 million from a wounded place, and also from that higher self place, the same desire exists. It really, I think, then would determine what and how you go after that desire based on what that root is. And no matter what, you're going to grow. You'll learn, maybe not always consciously, and you'll grow. So let's talk about desires on this podcast and why it's so incredibly important to allow yourself to dream and to admit what it is that you want. Well, without desires, you are going backwards. There is a law of creation that you're either growing or you're dying. And if you're not letting yourself desire something new, something better, perhaps materialistic things in your life, then there's nothing changing. And Godding, as Neville Goddard said, is change. And so a desire is put in your heart for the change to happen, because in order for you to go after that desire, things in your life have to change. You get to grow. If not, if you continue to show up the way that you've been showing up, you'll continue to get the things that you've been getting. And that is how a lot of people are living, and they ignore their desires that are in their heart, and therefore they think they're staying the same, but they're actually going backwards according to the law, because you cannot stay the same. You're either growing or you're dying. And so if we want to be desiring from our higher self, our future self, and allow God's desires to really land in our heart, for me, what that looks like is listening to myself and answering the questions like, in a universe where anything is possible, what would I love and how would that feel? The truth is, we live in an infinite potential, infinite possibility universe, and all and anything that you desire is possible. It's, what are you willing to have the courage to admit that you'd love to have that, you'd love to be that, you'd love to experience that. And Danielle Laporte and I, on a recent podcast, we were talking about, are all desires for each human. She asked me, do I believe if someone desires $1 million, like maybe it's just not their karmic reality in this life? And I said, well, I believe that if it is their desire, it is for them, and that perhaps their track is to burn through their karmic energy, to burn through, to move through the karmic lessons at a rapid speed to experience that desire. Now, I'm kind of giving you a hint about what Danielle and I talk about on a podcast, and it will, be launched at some point here in 2025. And it's a really juicy conversation that we had. But here's the thing. I strongly believe, and I know this to be true, that if you have a desire, it has to be for you. There's no way that you'd be given that idea in your mind, in your heart, if it wasn't possible. And just by you becoming present and admitting to that desire, you are making it even more possible and more real in the 3D realm, because you're giving it energy and focus. Now, of course, there'll be growth in order for you to achieve that desire. And that's the whole purpose. That's the reason you were given the desire in the first place. What is to grow and evolve in this lifetime. And so the next question is, are you willing? Are you willing to grow and evolve to become the version of you that is in resonance and harmony with that desire, whether it's $1 million or $1 billion? Are you willing to grow into that version of you that can hold the $1 million and learn the lessons, gain the wisdom along the way? And that is your choice. That willingness is key. Now, the second question that my mentor, Bob Proctor, would ask after we would share a desire with him or a goal, the second question is, are you able? So the first question is, are you willing? And the second is, are you able? And if your answer was not an astounding yes to the question, or am I able? Then that shows us that there's some work or some change within in your own understanding of who and what you are. Because the truth is, you are able. You're human and you have unlimited potential. Do you understand what it means to be a spiritual being in this human body with unlimited potential? That means that you are able. Now, perhaps there's talents and abilities that you get to learn along the way. Like we said, there's growth so that you can become the version of you that has that goal, that $1 million or that $1 billion, for example. You're able to do that. And the truth is, if you can see it in your mind, then you can hold it in your hand. So let's bring this back to the desire that I've been talking about, the $1 million. If you can see, literally see, visualize, imagine yourself with $1 million and that life and what that looks like, then you can have it by law. And it sounds so simple, and it is so true. So your work then becomes one of building the vision, building the picture on the screen of your mind, and anchoring in that picture, feeling that picture, and then being willing to grow and to become the version of you that has it. Now, this brings me back to my conversation with Danielle Laporte. There may be karmic lessons and karma that you've got to burn through in this life and learn the lessons and walk with the wisdom so that you become a vibrational match for the goal, for that vision of $1 million. But if you want it, you can do it. And I feel like you become like Superwoman, like pow, 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 like these karmic lessons, these people, these situations can come into your life and you are able to walk through them, meet them eye to eye, and gain the wisdom, transmute the emotions, and then walk in alignment with that wisdom day in your day to day to day, and grow into the version of you that has that goal. And if you want it, like if you want it bad enough, if you want it, you'd be willing to do that. You'd be willing to grow in that capacity. So, one of my values and virtues is growth, constant growth and evolution, that I'm here for it. It's like, yeah, I'm here for the growth. I'm here to evolve. And there's no way that I'm shying away from any of it. And so, with that, I give myself permission to dream as big as I possibly can. Understanding that the bigger the dream, the bigger the growth. And that for me is incredible and it's super exciting. When I'm growing, I'm alive. Can you feel that? So I'd love to pass on my desire for growth, my commitment to growth, and encourage you to be the same. And I'd also love to encourage you to tap into that imagination, to allow yourself to dream and connect with your desires and admit them to yourself. What do you want in a universe where anything's possible? If you were holding a magic wand, which you are, by the way, what would you love to have, do, and be? And how would that feel? It's the first step. Napoleon Hill talks about this in Think and Grow Rich. It's the first step towards riches is desire. And when you first admit a desire to yourself, it will be like a small flame. You know, the type of flame that you start with twigs if you're camping. And then you've got to fuel that flame. You got to fan the fire, allow more oxygen, breathe life into your desire so that it grows. Because the desire in the beginning, it's small, like that small flame, and it's very easily can go out. But you fan that fire and you continue to feed it with energy. And beautiful things start to happen as you become in alignment with that desire, as you become emotionally involved with that desire. You'll start to magnetize the resources and the people. And it looks like you're lucky, but it's not. It may look like a circumstance, and there's no such thing. This is all part of manifestation because you had the courage to dream and anchor in that dream and decide that you're going for it. And as you do, you'll start attracting people, resources, money into your life to make that dream a physical reality. And are there obstacles? Are there problems? I call them opportunities that you'll attract. Absolutely, because it's the growth, but it doesn't phase you. It's like you lean in because you understand that the wisdom, that the talents, the skills that you'll gain by walking through these situations are actually catapulting you in your growth so that you are the version of you that has that desire fully manifested in their life. So if this resonates with you, I'd love for you to share it and send me a message. This first step towards riches is desire, and it's very important. And I believe without a shadow of a doubt that your desires are coming from your higher self, even if they are ego, shadow driven desires. I still believe that by wanting it, you can work through some of that like lower density stuff. And that's part of your journey. So go write your laundry list of what you would love. Get it all on paper. And then have the courage to add more, bigger things in a universe where anything's possible. What do I want? And do this for days, several days in a row. Journal, write, have a bath, allow yourself to dream. You deserve it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us on the Mystic Millionaire podcast. Give us a 5-star rating, a thumbs up review, and share this. And for all of you subscribers, we have bonus episodes here for you behind the scenes when I interview guests. And many times when we're here in the studio on my own, I'll go deeper with you because I believe that by going deeper and gaining an understanding is the growth that you've been seeking. So we'll see you on the inside. Thank you for being here and expect abundance.